Get this thing back on here. Hey, buddy. Hey, there you are, buddy. Can you hear me? Let me make sure. Just trying to get this thing. Let's see here. You should be unmuted. Can you hear me, Don?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Welcome 3 and 2. Let me get some more volume out of this thing here. How's everything down in Waco?
Oh man, going all right. Just ready to start playing some ball.
How's your foot doing?
Hopefully, if all goes right, I will be out of the boot on Monday.
Good for you, brother. You are one of the toughest guys I've ever seen. One of these days, I hope to get to meet you in person.
Hopefully, it'll be off in time that I can get some rehab stuff going and get on the field.
Yeah, God, I can't wait. With this COVID thing, are they starting to loosen up everything down in the Waco area? Is it still kind of everyone held up right now?
People in Waco have kind of given them the middle finger to say on certain things because we finally had a tattoo shop a couple weeks ago that opened up beforehand, and the bad thing is they were fining him like $1,000 a day for being open.
Oh my Lord!
What they were doing is they were writing a ticket to him for $500, and his wife was a co-owner, so they wrote her a ticket as well.
Who says membership doesn't have its benefits, huh?
And they did that for like 10 days, I think it is. So now he's got a lawsuit that he's going to file in federal court. So,
oh dear God!
a lot of the stuff down here is easing up. I did try to go get a pedicure today. So for all the guys who don't believe in a pedicure and think that's a womanly thing, take care of your feet because you're on them all the time.
Absolutely.
Get an umpire season, I will go get a pedicure. Oh man, something's in my throat. But I do that. All of them want to wear masks, and I'm like, nah, man, I'm not into wearing a mask. The
All
only
right,
mask I
three.
want to wear is my umpire mask.
Well, there you hear it, 3-2 fans, right here from the big dog in the south end of Texas. Get a pedicure. All right. Well, hey, just want to welcome you to 3-2 baseball and softball talk. This is my seventh or eighth podcast. We tried it on Anchor to begin with, and it didn't work with just the audio. And then we tried it through the YouTube dashboard, which was great, but I could not get anybody else on the podcast with me. So I talked with Larry, and then my two older sisters have their own podcast. They said, "We'll get on Zoom and do a Zoom meeting, and it's automatically recorded." So once I got that taken care of, and I promised myself I'd start getting other umpires in here and talking about baseball and softball, and kind of get the backgrounds of how all of us got to this great game. And since you and I and Tito are kind of kindred spirits with a love for softball, which is basically baseball but much more fun.
And like I told him the other day, it's baseball, but better.
It's better, yeah. And I was talking with I don't know if you know Travis Guy. He's one of the umpires up here in Mid-Tex up here, and he's actually up Pilot Point up north of us. But he was heading up to Oklahoma City this weekend to call some games up there, and he was, of course, an umpire bored driving, trying to stay awake. He called me, we're talking, and I was telling him about that I'd done some softball games earlier this year before the flu hit, and he's like, I'd really like to try that. And I said, I'll tell you what, bud, you call high school, you call upper level youth, Division 2 and 3 NAIA baseball. If you got into softball, you would never turn back.
But I will say this, and it's no knock to baseball umpires. Guys I've talked before, and I'm going to tell you that every softball umpire can umpire baseball, but not every baseball umpire can umpire softball.
I completely agree, brother.
Because
Like I told him, I said, if you do any amount of softball, it will make you that much of a better baseball umpire because you can chime in anytime you want. But all I know is that softball is such a fast game, and angles are so important. Movement, rotations, over rotations. Sometimes it just gets us into that position. I think it's because we call from the outside. Tell you the truth, instead of being inside the players.
And I think there are some times where baseball guys, because they're mechanics, being inside helps them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there are times where they don't have the freedom to move, and don't, because they're so reliant on that field umpire, especially in the 2-man system. That base umpire, U1, is truly, besides calling ball and strikes, he's calling most of the game.
But
And
that's a lot of truth in that.
You almost work as two separate people, where softball, you have to work as a team, and if you don't, you're in trouble. You're going to leave at some point. You're either going to get left out to dry, or you're going to leave your partner out to dry.
Exactly.
And I've been in both those. I've left people out to dry, and because I made a mistake, and I've been on the other side where my partner's left me out to dry, and I've taken some butt chewings that a lot of people look at me and go, because I do have a reputation as being one that doesn't take a lot of crap from people.
Right.
But I had a high school game one time where a partner left me out to dry, and I'll be honest with you, I had to guess on a call. And to this day, I couldn't tell you if I got the call right. Somebody in there told me I did, but I really didn't have a clue if I did or not, because of where I was at a bad angle to make the play, but my partner should have been there. And the particular coach came up and ripped me a new one, and in between innings came back. and I had a league president that had seen me throw several people out before, looked at me and goes, "Man, I cannot believe you took that much off of him." And I went, "Man, well, when you screw the pooch, you got to take the punishment for it."
Yeah. Yeah.
My bulldog is over here trying to attack me right now.
Oh, look at that cutie. Was that the one that bumped into your leg the night you were sitting on the couch with a broken foot?
Yes, it is. He jumped right on my foot.
Oh.
He weighs about 55, 60 pounds and jumped right on my foot that night.
Oh, my God.
It was not a pleasant thing.
Yeah.
He's wanting to play right now.
Well, of course, when you got something going on, then he wants to play. But yeah, I can vouch for that. Getting hung out to dry. I mean, I started umpiring in the first game I ever did was a high school girls fast pitch game up in Oklahoma. I just took my test online, got it. The local umpire in the area that was calling high school ball said, come on out. We got JV in a varsity game, and you talk about baptismal by fire. And I'd watched my daughter play. I'd coached her as a youth, but anybody can attest. Umpiring a game and coaching a game is completely two different things. And so my first 3 years of umpiring was just girls fast pitch, and then I started doing boys baseball. But anytime there was if I even heard a rumor of a softball game, I would it must be my grandkids wanting to FaceTime me. They're just getting back from baseball practice, so that's a good sign here that the kids are out actually going to some practices now.
And where are you from, Matt?
We're up here in Fort Worth.
Fort Worth? Yeah, I come up a lot and work. Oh, I'm putting the dog up so he can quit attacking me. He's cute, but it's kind of hard to concentrate. Right. Yeah, I work a lot up there in the Fort Worth area. Gateway Park over at Weatherford and over White Settlement that way. Plus the other groups I work for.
Gateway Park is literally 2.5 miles from my house. Right down off of Beach Street.
Beautiful little park there in Fort Worth.
Oh, it is. It's beautiful. I drive by it. I've always wanted to call over there, but never really got hooked up. And then once I got hooked up with Larry and Jeff, then you have no need for any more games because they will shove them down their throat, right? They get you right down there where you don't have any time. But hopefully this year with some NCS up here, I did that one tournament me and Mark Branham did. Well, we did a Saturday tournament right at the beginning of the spring. And then, of course, the virus hit, and I had a Saturday tournament and then 2 high school scrimmages, and that was it. So hopefully I haven't seen the schedule yet for this weekend. If Whitney's I think it's only going to be a Sunday tournament. So hopefully Mid-Tech starts really getting into the softball up here because, like I say, I'm with you. I don't want to knock baseball, but I have just a special place in my heart for softball. I just think it's just so much more action. The girls are real energetic. The coaches all seem to know the rules. The parents are always great.
You haven't got to you haven't seen some of the teams. There's some of those that are just like baseball where you're looking at them going in. When you say the coaches seem to know the rules, when I first got into, because I've been umpiring, man, since I was 16 years old. I started working with an older gentleman that came down to the park, and I had to be honest, I did it. I was a volunteer umpire back in the days where we had one umpire behind the plate that got paid, and the person on the field was a volunteer guy. And I just came down and started volunteering with him and worked with one of the guys all the time on softball, and kind of did it for just something to do to keep active, but also, I'd be truthful, it was a way to be around the girls because, 14, 15-year-old girls, I'm a 16-year-old guy. That's not much age difference. So it's kind of one of those motivations that I enjoy.
Yeah. Oh, All right, hold on a second, Donald. One of the ball players want to talk to me. Hey, buddy. You just get out of baseball practice? Yeah, I'm on a podcast. I'll call you back. Okay, buddy. All right, you push the button. Okay, bye bye. Sorry about that. They're the kids are in such a routine with Papa after work. They got to have a podcast. Let me know how baseball practice went.
Everything with it. So it's been fun. Like I said, I work baseball. I tell people if I'm broke enough, I work baseball.
Yeah.
I'm a softball guy.
Yeah, and it just to me uh, a tournament weekend doing softball versus a tournament weekend doing baseball, I just feel so much better. I'm not doesn't seem like I'm that I'm definitely more probably physically tired doing a softball tournament, but mindset wise, motivation wise, I just feel so much better. It's a completely different vibe.
I will agree with you there. I believe we run a lot more in softball than baseball umpires do. I think you have to be in a little better physical condition, and some people may disagree with me, and that. But I'm gonna say this, and I've been down because of my foot and all, but I've been trying to get out now that the doctor told me I could walk on it with the walking boot. So just getting some exercise, man. We umpires. This is gonna be more important this year than any other year to get hydrated, take care of your body, because normally we start, and especially if you're work at the college level and even the high school level is pretty close behind it. We're starting in the 1st of February.
Yeah, I mean we're almost mid-season in some leagues right now.
Yeah, we start normally when it's cool and our body works to the heat and we get adjusted to it. And this year we're not going to have that adjustment period. And I almost interested in the ones that have been out umpiring that have started going up to Oklahoma and that what it really feels like, because I know it's got to take a toll on you, because just from experience, we've had a couple of showcases that I've done in the past couple of years where the camps, sometimes they'll run the little camp in the morning on Saturday morning and start playing games at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you by the time it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's hot. And speaking with the umpires and the group that I work with doing now, every time we've had one of those, umpires always complain because they didn't get that early morning games and work into the heat and just going out there and starting in the heat.
Right. Starting right in the heat.
Takes a toll on your body, and if we don't take care of ourselves as umpires to it now, it's going to take a toll, and you're going to have guys go down. And unfortunately, I've seen some softball umpires in the past few years who died as a result of stuff on the field, and it's tragic, but the truth is, you got to take care of yourself because nobody else is going to take care of it for you. And your body is how you're making money. So you got to do that. And it's reflective. It's not just old people. It's everybody. My 17-year-old daughter last year at 16 working an event went down because she hadn't drank enough fluid. She wasn't feeling real well going into it, but she didn't drink enough fluids and eat, and didn't take care of herself, and as a result of that, she went down in a tournament, and had to go to the hospital, get IVs and stuff. It's a serious thing. It's kind of like cancer. It doesn't discriminate.
No, it doesn't. Unfortunately, I want to say it was 4 years ago. My son and I were umpiring up at the World Series up at Flower Mound for Tracy Black, and we were. I think it was day 3. I think it was in the crossover day. And, of course, a 4:15 game start. Between him and I, we probably drank 30 or 40 waters that day because it was probably 105 we stepped on the field. And I'm sure you've seen this before, especially in boys baseball, a real long half inning. We were probably on the field for, I'd say almost 45 minutes. And, thank God it was the end of the game. And between innings, I was forcing him to drink water. he's forcing me because, you know, it's that high. You just don't feel like doing anything. And at that time, he was probably 23 or 24. Great shape. You know, he played sports his entire high school career. And we just walked off the field and signed the game cards, and we're walking through the dugout. And he says, "Hey, I'm gonna head up to the restroom, and then I'm gonna grab a hot dog." And I said, "Okay." And I was just 3 steps ahead of him, walking up to the Tracy's office to hand off the game card, and I heard a woman scream, and I turned around. And there's my son doing a 360 in the grass and collapsed into a seizure. And thank God, Flower Mound EMS was there most of that day, tending to people in the crowds and then other umpires. They swooped right in, put him in a cooling suit. His core body temperature is 114 degrees, laying there on the ground. And by the time they got him in the ambulance, it was already back down in the upper 90s. They had 2 bags of IVs flowing, and by the time they got him to Baylor, you know, they said his ketone level was like 5, and his kidneys were just about ready to shut down. And you know, we talked to the doctor about it, and he says, just think about what you were doing out there. You were standing in probably one spot with a black hat on, and you were just like a fence post, and that sun would just radiate right down through your hat. And he said your body just eventually got to the point where your internal temperature was so high, your brain said, "That's enough. I'm going to protect my body. I'm just going to shut the lights off for a second." And you know, we talked about it afterwards, and kind of determined he probably didn't eat as much as I did, because I don't know about you, I always bring Pop-Tarts, Nutty Bars, a bag of peanuts. I'm always trying to, you know, I can't eat a lot when I'm on the field, especially during a tournament. But I always like to have, you know, just crunch on something to get a mouthful of something between innings. And he just, he had a breakfast in the morning, but hadn't ate that day. And so that taught us a real good lesson about staying hydrated and hydrating. You know, usually like when him and I would go into that, we were already just coming out of spring ball, so we'd been hydrating anyway. But it was a solid effort. 3 to 4 days before that tournament was just pound waters. I'm not a big Gatorade guy. To me, it just doesn't taste very good. But I will drink. Oh, we'll go through a case and a half, 2 cases of water between us just every day during a
If you don't like Gatorade, I'm going to give you one for you. Have you tried Body Armor?
No, I have not.
Get the Body Armor. I'm not a Gatorade or Powerade person myself either, because there's too much sugar in it, and when I drink it, it almost leaves me more. I feel like I'm thirstier after I drink it than I am before I drink it.
Yeah, I agree.
The Body Armor, and first thing I'll tell you, it's got coconut water in it, which is a great hydrator.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally, if you hand me a jug of coconut water, I can't stand it. I don't like the taste of it. I'm not a coconut person. It's just not me. I won't drink a pina colada if it's the only drink you got. I just don't like coconut. So for a long time, I wouldn't drink them because I knew it had coconut water in it.
Sure.
But finally, I was at a tournament and I had a guy, and it was hot, and the guy told me, "Here, you need to drink this. You try." I'm like, "I don't like coconut water." He goes, "Don't taste like coconut water." He said, "I don't like coconut water either, but drink this," and handed me one. And he handed me a strawberry banana flavor. And if you like strawberries and bananas, that's the one to start with, and you can figure out which ones you like. It tastes amazing. I gulped it down. He looked at me and goes, it was gone before we got back on the field, and he's looking at me going, "Yeah, see, it wasn't that bad, was it?" I'm like, "No." After that, I believe it. I take my waters to the tournament, and I take my Body Armors, and I kind of alternate them back and forth for hydration purposes, because when you need that that boost real quick, the water's going to take a little bit to get in there and go. The Body Armor seems to give me that push when water is not going to be enough.
Well, that's great advice. I had never even heard of it. I'll have to start looking around some stores around here, because I'm always trying to find that, you know, that little extra, you know, because, you know, this year I'll be 56, so Our health, like you said, our health is the most paramount thing for us because, we earn our livings, our side jobs with our bodies. And every year it just gets harder and harder if, you're coming out of an injury. And at my age, you get injury, it could be the one that sets you down for, a half a season or if not more. So I really try to stay in the best shape I possibly can. It doesn't help when you're working 50, 60 hours a week in your normal job, and then take your weekend off and go umpire baseball for 12 to 14 hours a day. But
Yeah, I've got now with my ankle. The doctor put me on a boot at the first of the month. Told me to come back and see him the next month. So I'm hoping he's taking me out of it. Uh, I've actually, you know how as hard-headed men are. We're going to test things. So I've taken the boot off and seen what I can do without it.
mm,
To give it a little test. And I've got it's sore from not moving it a lot. And if I'm just laying around the couch, sometimes I'll take it off, just to get mobility back in, because that's going to be my biggest problem. Problem with mine on the injury is going to be mobility
sure.
and getting back. But I've also got a chiropractor appointment too because my hips are so far out of line from this boot.
Yeah, being immobile is not helping your hips at all.
And that much difference in height, with the boot compared to the shoe, and that's but I'm gonna get that done. But yeah, like I said, it's taken, if I was 18 years old, truth of the matter is I'd probably already be back running.
Mm-hmm.
But
Exactly.
41 years old, people are looking at me like, how long has it been? Yeah, I'm at 9 weeks right now. Most people 6 weeks they're in and they're out and done, but it's taking a little longer on that. But one thing I've already looked at and I'm gonna purchase before I start calling, I'm getting an ankle brace because I roll that ankle to cause it. And when I go to, my plate shoes are the high tops. I don't think I'm gonna have an issue with those. But when I'm on the bases, moving back and forth, especially in softball, where you have to have that lateral movement.
Sure.
There's a likelihood that ankle could go, and the last thing I want to do is that ankle to go and re-break. And so I went, you know what? I'm gonna spend about $30 to buy a hard brace to put on there. I'd rather be a little uncomfortable than have another injury.
Yeah, because that's what I have to tell myself all the time is, hey, remember, you got to go to work on Monday morning, champ. That's how you pay the bills and feed the family. You're doing this for fun. Yeah, because a couple years ago, I was doing a Terra Sawyer with my son, first or second game of the day. Or maybe it was the third game because I was supposed to take the last four. Because I told the boy, take the first three plates. I'll take the last four that day. Still a little wet out in the grass. Got in a pickle between first and second base, and I just turned, and what I did was partially dislocated my hip and went back in, and thank God it was a quick tag, and I called the guy out as I was dropping to one knee and laying on my side. It was by far the worst pain I have felt. I mean, even blowing a knee out, it wasn't that kind of pain. And that's the first and only time I ever had to take myself out of a game, well, out of the rest of that tournament. And I sat in the cab of my truck and watched the remainder of that game. Thank God they had a floater on the field, and he came over. And of course, this floater was a new guy, didn't have any gear. So my son, he toughed it out, and he ended up doing 7 plates that day. Bless his heart. But yeah, it literally it laid me up for probably 3 solid weeks where I couldn't, and I was barely getting around work. It was terrible, and it was a partial dislocation of my hip, and I think I'd rather felt better if I just broke it, started over. But yeah, that's one thing that people don't realize is with us umpires, that banging around we get and the nagging injuries. I always see that at the World Series. You have a solid week of baseball, you get really 3.5 days off, and you're right back in to do the second week. Yeah, I'm hobbling around the house for a solid month after that's over. It's
Yeah, I've
yeah.
done some of those. I know my first week back. We've got a big event starting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'm working as long as I get cleared. As soon as they open up June the 5th, I'm gonna have that Monday all the way through Sunday. I've got one event that goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we start the next one on Thursday.
Oh, good God.
It's gonna be long. My particular schedule there for Don Watson's already told me. I told him, I said, hey, I said, if all goes right, I said the boot's coming off on June 1st, and I'll be ready to go on the 15th. His response is you better be.
You don't have a choice, champ. When it's go time in Texas, it's go time.
Yeah, I laughed because we had a coach. It was a year or two ago. There was a coach, and he was hobbling around on a Saturday, and I'm looking at him going, man, I said, you all right? He goes, yeah, man, he broke his ankle or his foot or something in there. He goes, man, I'm supposed to be on the walking boot for it was like another week or two. He goes, man, but I'm tired of wearing that damn thing, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. So he's hobbling out there, man, looking terrible getting around with it. On Sunday, he was back in his walking boot.
Yeah, the boot.
I said, Coach, I said, you got the boot on today. He goes, man, this hurts so bad. He said, I hurt so bad yesterday. He said, now I know why the doctor told me to wear the boot. He said,
Yeah.
I'm going back to the boot.
That's the worst part of us guys. We all know more than our paid professionals around us, and we'll take it to the extreme. And next thing it's like I should have listened to that doctor.
Yeah, because I'll admit I've taken the boot off some and walked around with it because I want to know what I can do. What can I do and what can I not do? And I know it's weak right now, so I know when I do get it off, one thing I do need to do is walk. Just getting mobility back on it.
Yeah, and try to strengthen all those muscles and tendons, especially around that ankle.
The good thing is I live on a road that it's a dead end street that goes about 3/4 of a mile back, and not a lot of traffic on it. So I just walk. I walk to the end of it, turn around, and walk back. I've got a mile and a half in, and I'm it gives us some work on it, and
sure,
and it's up. I didn't realize it the first time I did it. I walked down there bebopping, man. I'm like, man, I'm going good. And then I turned around and come back, and I went, oh hell, that was all downhill on the way here. Going downhill to what is the towards the Brazos River right there, behind us. And I'm going, man, that was all great going downhill, but this going uphill is not near as fun.
That's right. Now I got to start working.
I come back, I was sweating, and I was like, of course, my 17-year-old daughter is going, why are you sweating so bad and breathing hard? You just walked.
Hey, sometimes that walk is hard enough, especially if, like you coming out of a major injury like you're coming out of. Yeah, it's good. You hate to say it's going to be baby steps, but doesn't sound like with your schedule coming up, baby steps are going to be a luxury. I think you're going to have to step right back into it, brother.
Yeah, I'm just hoping everything's gonna be fine. The good thing is it's just about the worst injury I've probably ever had. So I got the doctor that gave me the words of, well, the good news is that it's a common place to break it. Great. He goes, so it's going to heal on its own. It's going to take a little bit of time. And I'm sitting here going, yeah, but the problem with that common place to break it is if it's common to break it in that spot, then it's probably common to re-break it in that spot.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's like
that's the part I don't want to hear.
That's right. I want to hear it's the most wildest break ever, and it'll probably never happen again.
And my problem is when I was walking, I literally slipped on a step that's probably 1.5 inches tall. I hit just the edge of it and just rolled right off of it.
Just rolled it over. Oh my God.
While wearing my Under Armour slides.
Oh dear God.
So and guess what my favorite shoes are?
Oh.
I love my Under Armour. I show up to a tournament, everybody laughs at me because I got my black socks on. I got my Under Armour slides on. And they're
Yeah.
like, "What are you doing? These are my tournament shoes." And then when the day's over and that, I take my socks off and I slide them in my Under Armour slides, and I'm comfortable.
And you're
And
finally
I'm like,
comfortable again.
but I'm not sure how much of a favorite shoe they're going to be this year. I may have to wear my New Balances.
That's right. They may be a little suspect, just keep them over in the corner and look at them once in a while. Maybe they'll come back in a good favor with you once you get healed up.
And knowing me and me being hard headed, I'll probably have them on the first weekend back.
Right. Not like any other umpire I know.
Probably the first day that I get off of them, I'll probably be in them. And then I do know it's sore though. It's stiff. I'm not gonna say it's sore. It's stiff.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be, that's gonna be the hardest end. I'm hoping after 2 or 3 days on my walking down there, once I get the boot off, that I can actually get into a little light jog.
Sure.
Problem is I haven't done anything but get fatter since I haven't been doing anything.
Amen, brother.
And I'm sitting here the other day looking at myself going, yeah, I'm going to be the one in trouble this year.
Yeah. Well, you're probably like me. By this time of the year, I've probably shed 5 to 10 extra pounds I had over the winter, and it's starting to get warmer out, so that weight's coming off, and you're starting to put a little bit of muscle mass back on. We don't have that this year. I mean, I try to stay as active as I can with the grandkids. They'll wear you out anyway, but I know I am way out of shape. For lack of a better term, playing shape. Used to try to stretch every day and keep as limber as I can, but as well as I do, until you're out there running around, and like you were saying earlier, mobility, having the agility to make those turns and them quick, short little bursts of 10 to 12 steps to get into a position to make a call. That kind of speed, stuff like that, that's going to be built over time. And I'm kind of with you. I'm hoping all the brothers and sisters that watch this, if you're not trying already at some level, trying to get back into shape. I was trying to get Travis on this week, because I'd like to, I'm with you. I'd like to see how some of those guys react from that tournament up in Chickasha last weekend. How they're feeling, if they can notice any huge difference being back out. I know they had a lot of rain up there and a lot of humidity, but still, when you haven't worked, because I know Travis did some college games way early, and then everything shut off for him too. I was just kind of interested to get a couple of the guys' thoughts on what it felt like to get back out there the first time, and so we can give everybody else kind of an idea of what they should be looking out for and trying to stay. For me, it's just gonna stay as much hydration in me as possible till I get back into shape.
And that's the thing. A big thing too is, and a lot of people don't take that pre-hydrating seriously enough. It's that you can't wait till the night before.
Oh no!
If you're waiting for the night before and it's gonna be 100 degrees or plus outside, it's too late. You better it better be a week before. And a lot of times if I know it's gonna be real hot too, then I start cutting down on the summer. I love Coca-Cola. It's one of my bad habits. I'll drink a little bit of alcohol, but I'm not a big alcohol drinker. It's just not me. But give me a Coca-Cola and I'm good to go. But man, I know that affects your body so badly when it starts coming to playing ball. So here, I haven't had one. Check this. I take that back. I did that one yesterday.
Hey, if you have to think about having one, that's cutting down.
Yeah, but if probably on June 1st, if I get cleared, knowing that we're going to be back on June 5th, I'm probably going to stop. Just let it go for a while. So I make sure I got plenty of water. I drink a lot of tea, so that gives me the water part there, and I get a little bit of caffeine that I need, so I don't get the headaches. But
sure,
it's one of those. Just make it sure you're in there, because I'll be honest, I've been a couple of times where I thought I was fixing to be gone on the field. You could feel it, but I've come through and I've never went out in a tournament, never gotten sick like that. But we all know that we probably at some point, if you haven't went down, you've been close and you knew you were
Yeah,
close.
I've got
And
that where I've gotten the double vision, maybe got down behind the catcher a little too quick and kind of felt myself kind of, ooh, okay. And, and then just, or for me, if I get real close to being where I'm going to start getting dehydrated, I'll start getting the shivers. So if I even, and I'm like you, 4 days before a big tournament weekend or something, I'm almost thinking I haven't hydrated enough if I start 4 days beforehand. Because I have a big propensity for Kool-Aid, so that's like pop. It's the worst thing you can drink because all that sugar. But at work, 12 to 14 bottles of water a day. But then that's just you're just pouring it in and it's just coming right back out. I mean, anybody can attest the railroad's probably the worst place on the planet to work. It's either the hottest place on earth or the coldest. So I mean, it's just try to stay hydrated, and I think you're only just barely keeping up with what your body needs for hydration, even drinking that much water when you're working, let alone when you're out there on that field because it's changing all the time. We're under we're under the sun from like you said, the early morning game all the way to the sun setting at 7, 8 o'clock at night. And then sometimes it even gets warmer at night because then especially on the softball fields, all that sand is absorbed that heat all day. And when it should be getting cool, all that heat's coming right back up through your feet.
Yeah, I've had places where I've intentionally on a softball field be further back into the grass where I could step into the grass. Umpiring one if it's a regulation size field, where I could sit back in the grass. Now, then you get some places where they play adult stuff or they do play a little bit of baseball on those fields and they have a deeper cut and you're like, God, I can't even get to the grass. If I do, I'll be out there with the left fielder and that. But
yeah, oh yeah,
I can definitely attest.
Yeah,
that.
I'm with you on that one. If I can find a shade behind a light pole somewhere, just to duck in for, the 4 or 5 warm up pitches they're going to have out there. I mean, that's a good thing to do. Is always, because that's one of the worst places to be is a baseball or softball field because there is no shade trees. But if there is, I'm going to try to find it because that's what we have to do to protect ourselves. Because if we can't go out there, the kids are going to suffer, or they're going to have to bring in a floater. Which I don't know. Down in that Waco area, do you guys run a lot of floaters in your tournaments?
Well, see, in a lot of our softball tournaments that I work, when I worked at USSSF, a lot of them, we don't work straight through. We work 2 on 1 off a lot of times.
Oh, really?
We actually have a third guy on our field. Now, the complaint to that would be is you're going to sit out a couple games. You're not going to make as much money. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's more games in a softball tournament typically than there is in a baseball tournament.
Agreed.
If you'll take a field, if they're playing an hour 45, even an hour 40 tournament, a baseball tournament, they're only going to be able to start games every hour 50, hour 55 apart. They just can't put as many games on the field, so you're going to wind up with 6 or 7 games on the field.
Right.
Well, a lot of our tournaments, when they're older age groups, they're actual tournaments and not showcases. They're hour 15.
Yeah, an hour 30, you're stepping right back on the field again.
Game on there. So now instead of having 7 games on that field, sometimes there's 9 games on that field.
Sure.
So 2 games I'm probably still gonna get 6 games off of that field. I'm just not having to work every game.
Right.
And
right.
So there's complaints to it. There's some of it. Me personally, a lot of times I can work straight through. There's a lot of softball players that don't want to work straight through. I've done it. I will attest to being from where you're at. I've been on probably not the smartest thing I've ever done looking back on it, but at Big League Dreams right there.
Oh, God.
We were there on a 4th of July tournament. Started on the 4th of July, which was a Friday. It was 102 air temperature.
Oh, good
I
Lord.
don't even want to know what that turf was. But I was on what would be the National League side when you over there to the right when you walk
Sure.
in, and I don't know what it is about that facility, but that side has no airflow to it.
No, it's because them back walls are so high. You
But
can't
when
get
you
a
go,
breeze.
but when you go to the American League side, there's wind always
Oh,
blowing.
always, yeah, blows. It comes around the clubhouse there and the breeze all day long.
And at that first day I was there, we were working 2 on 1 off. I had a partner with the. I worked. Was supposed to work 6 games on that field. And there, well, after my fourth game, um, I was sitting out and they go, "Hey, there's they need a plate umpire over here on another a guy to work the plate on another field. Can you go over and cover that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "I'll take care of your field and go over and cover this." Well, I went to the American League side where the wind was blowing. I was like, "Oh my God, thank God!" And he goes, "Hey, you mind just staying over here?" Not a problem.
I'll be
No
here all
problem. I will gladly stay on this side.
I'll be
So
over here all day, boss.
so I did 6 games on that Friday, at the hour 15 apiece, and I was doing. When I started out the day, I started out on the 16U age group, and then I think I finished on like 12s or something like that, and going in. But I was dating a girl at the time; she umpired too, and I told her that day. I said, "I've got a feeling that the next day I'm gonna be on the 18s." And she goes, "With me, I didn't." That particular guy I was working for at the time. You knew what you were gonna work on a day, but you got the schedule when you got there, which I didn't really care for, but it was the way you worked. It was how it was. I dealt with it. I get back and I look at the schedule. I've got 10 straight.
Oh, Lord,
Um, and then
that's so good.
I worked 10 straight there on Saturday and 8 straight on Sunday. And that was a killer. I think it says our time limit's about to run out.
Yeah,
On
I don't
mine.
know. It was trying to send me a gift, so that's Zoom for you. But yeah, I got a picture a couple years ago of my plate shoe was actually separating. I think I was I on Wrigley that day on the National League side, and one of the dads had a thermal gun that he had from work. It was 147 degrees on the turf. Kids are
Yeah.
throwing up in the dugout, and it was me and Marshall Story were out there, and I think we were doing. I think it was a 12U majors tournament out there, and it was just like you say, not you couldn't have bought a breeze if you wanted to, and it was so miserable. Coaches are saying, "Hey, we're good with going an hour 30," and I said, "Hey, boss, we've been going an hour 30 all day. You probably just didn't know it." We're and they were like, "This is unsafe," and so after that, that was 3 or 4 seasons ago. I won't do big league dreams after probably mid June. Just won't. I'll do Texas Star because at least over there on the turf, there's a lot of trees and you're kind of up on top of the hill. Unfortunately, you get the that marvelous smell from the landfill. If the breezes come from the south, I mean, it's pretty brutal, but it's a breeze. And yeah, people don't they think you're joshing them when you say it. Literally, when I get to the truck, I throw all my clothes in the back of the truck, and it won't ride in the cab with me going home because the smell from that landfill gets into your clothes, and it smells amazing, you know.
Yeah.
But
I know you're talking about the temperature and all that, man, different things. USSSA Nationals, I don't believe it wasn't this past year, it was the year before. Um, it was at where it was the 110 to 115 range. And we were supposed to be playing, yeah, we were playing 80 or 85 minutes on the games, and we were 85. 85 is what it was supposed to be for the 85 finish inning. And what they told us on that Saturday, they come in, they go, "Hey, um, the winners bracket games, because we were double elimination, winners brackets give the coaches an option. They can play 75 or 85." Losers bracket games are all 75 minutes.
Just straight
There's
across
no
the board, 75.
there's no option on the losers bracket game. And what we found, we had 2 or 3 umpires go down, but at one of the other complexes they had players starting to go down.
Mm.
Once the players starting to go down, they realized that umpire, nobody really thinks that much about that. He's out of shape. He didn't take care of himself.
Mm-hmm.
Once it started going down, it's now we got a bigger problem. And truthfully, in a business, this is a business for everybody. Those kids are our customers, and if those kids and teams can't play, we don't have a job. So we've got to protect our customers as much as we do anything else. And unfortunately, when you get, hell, 8 to 18-year-old kids, they're not looking out for the best interest of themselves. They're looking out for they want to play the game. I haven't met a kid yet that doesn't want to play the game, and sometimes we have to be the ones that look out for them and take care of those kids. And hopefully, through all of this that's happened right now, whether you think the leaders did right or you think they did wrong, I have mixed opinions on that. And it's not a political show, but whatever your feelings on that, I'm hoping that when we get back on the field, the kids, parents, umpires, tournament directors, everybody have a more of an appreciation for the fact that we get to play a game, we get to be a part of it, and maybe we shouldn't take it quite so serious sometimes. I understand it's a big money ordeal, but understand that not every game your kid ain't getting a college scholarship, when they're 8 years old because they can hit it off the coach,
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm hoping that does give us a better respect for we get to do this. That's what I try to tell the younger umpires. If this becomes a job to you, then you're going to be like every other umpire out there. There's a small group, small percentage of umpires that we understand that we've been on the outside looking in, or we've had injuries, or had for some reason could not do it. Like for us, now it's been almost 9 weeks now since we've been unable to do what we love, and definitely reminds me every day of the appreciation. I just can't wait to get back on the field, because it is something we get to do. And hopefully, like I say, the tournament directors and the coaches, the coaches usually have a pretty good idea about the safety of their players. But there's sometimes, we got to get our 80% of games in so we don't have to pay back. They get that mentality. When, like I say, I agree with you. It's a money thing, but I'm with you, Don. I hope it comes to the point where we all step back and maybe smile a little bit and say, hey, we get to do this, and we're thankful we get to get back on the field and salvage some of this season.
Yeah, and this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun for the kid. It's supposed to be fun for everything. And but there's a side that, when you walk out there and you take money for it. I had a guy tell me, he goes, hey, you may not think you may think that major league umpires are professional umpires. He goes, but when you take money to do something, you became a professional.
That's right. Yeah, you have now a profession, and my taxes will show you every year that we do earn our money out there.
But you should take pride in it and that work hard at it and go in. I've gotten to the point. I finally am at the position where I decided, I had the opportunity this year that I want to go up a level, and the JUCO level last year toward the end of the season was needing somebody, and I went and worked a couple of fill-in spots for them, and I got the opportunity to be a part with Region 5 junior college softball.
Congratulations, man.
And I worked this year for Region 5 and Region 14. And I went to a camp last year, and the camp is ran by a lady, Christy Cromwell, For those who are softball umpires who will know her, she is the coordinator for the Ohio Valley, the Old Dominion, I can't think of all the alphabets. But her big pride and joy is she is the softball scheduler, the supervisor for the Southeastern Conference.
Oh, really?
And
That's a big deal, brother.
and we got to work. I laughed because I told him, I said, man, I paid $300 for people to yell at me. Hold on one second. Mac, get back up here. I took the bulldog outside because he's in the room barking.
Now he's going to chase squirrels all the rest of the night.
He's running down the hill, and now I guess I'm fixing to get my walk in because he just took off down the hill.
Well, hey, I'll let you go, brother. I can't thank you enough for joining this stupid little podcast here.
I don't know, man. I enjoyed it, but hey, guys, do take care of your bodies, take care of yourself, get yourself educated. I'm gonna tell you the one thing I took out of that camp that I did go to, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Got to work. Our evaluators were all either SEC. I think we have one Big 12 umpire there. Most of them were the SEC, but every one of them were Division One, at the Division One level. But they were all Division One postseason umpires. Tom Myers is one of the.
Oh yeah, Tom Myers, absolutely.
He is one. Him and Christy own the company together that puts on the camp, and now Tom is a multiple time Women's College World Series umpire, and I think 4 or 5 of the guys that we've had have umpired at the College World Series, and so it was great instruction. But guys, one of the things that they did teach us there, the first thing they started with in our classroom session was a spot called U Incorporated, and their deal is in the umpire business, it really is a lot of it is about what you put into it. Mm-hmm. And you're going to get out of it what you put into it. Some people have no desire to ever be a college umpire. When I started 25 years ago, I didn't think that I'd ever be on a college field. And a lot of people laugh at you, go, hey, the JUCO level's not really college. Well, I'm going to tell you, they pay to go to school. It's college,
I'm telling you what, don't say that. You get the World Series and see all those junior colleges in there.
Yeah, and so these are big time players, and that. But you're going to get out of it what you put into it. If the only thing every time you ever look at anything is when you're reading the rules 5 minutes before the game starts to figure out what you're doing for that tournament, you're not going to get out of what everybody else is getting out of it. You got to spend time in the rule book. You got to spend time in the mechanics book. You got to invest in yourself because nobody else is going to do it for you.
I can completely agree. Yeah, the case book is your best friend. And now it's a little bit nicer. I haven't been calling as long as you, but back when we started, there was no internet. It was a book on the back of the toilet, a book at the kitchen table, a book on the dash of the car. And now with the internet, it's a little bit easier. Now everything we have on our phones, but no, I'm with you. It's about what you put into it. And that's a great little thought, you incorporated, because, we are really, we're the only ones out there. We're the ones that, granted, we never get to glory, but we want to make sure we get it right. And that's my biggest fear of when I've been umpiring is getting a call wrong. So I work my tail off to make sure that, you're going to get those iffy ones where you're not quite sure. You try to get that last step and reach before you could, get that look around the corner, and you got to make the call. But hopefully you had enough information to make it. And then, fortunately, somebody's got to make it, and that's where we got to step in and make it. And like you say, if you pooch a call, and that coach comes over there and gets in the middle of your tail, give him his chance. You're probably right, coach. Or maybe not, but then that just gives a little bit more pepper to me to get back out there and maybe get that extra step out there and get that angle a little bit more.
And be honest with the coach, hey, coach, if I missed it, I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I've learned in the years of doing this, I just this because I appreciate basketball and that too. coaches will appreciate honesty.
Absolutely.
They're not. Is it gonna make them happy? No. They're not gonna be happy if you blew it and you missed it, but they're gonna be some honesty. I tell them the worst officiating call I've ever made in my whole life, and some people may disagree, but the worst call I've ever made. I was in a basketball game and I anticipated a long pass and I anticipated a foul was coming, and the kid got right there, and I blew the foul the moment the kid got there. And when I looked down, the kid had 2 handfuls of ball.
No.
I should have had a hell ball, but I've got a fist up with the foul. And luckily, the game was a blowout. And I went and reported the foul. And next time out, I got a chance. I walked over to the coach. I go, hey, Rusty, I blew that call. I anticipated your kid was going to foul him, and he didn't. And I said, it's my fault. You know, I've seen good officials make bad calls, you know, in different sports and that. And we can't, you know, nobody wants to go out there. There's no official. Hadn't met an official yet that cares about who wins game.
Yeah.
The first time I ever started officiating, the guy told me, he said, if you care who wins the game, you don't need to be in the game.
Right.
And that's so, you know, we're all working hard to get it right. But to get things right, we have to know rules. We have to know what's going on. You know, we can't just guess what's going on. And I had a mentor umpire years ago told me this one thing. He goes, it's not a sin to not know a rule. He said it's a sin to go back the next night and still not know the rule.
Still not know the rule.
And I went, you know what? He goes, because you could look it up, you could call somebody, you could do something to find out whether or not you got that right.
Yeah, to get that call right. Yep, my wife can attest. She's seen me crying, a grown man crying at the kitchen table, because after a game where I knew I blew a call, and I can't remember the kid's name. I'm bald. I know I cost him his chance, you know, this stuff. And she's like, you know what? Now when you're done, dry your eyes, and you got a couple hours. Get in there and get back into that book and try to figure out what you thought you saw and what rule you thought you were trying to apply there. And that's how you learn. And you always just keep that, you know, in the back of your head, so you'll never do it again. And, you know, and it's something like I'm with you, is just continually staying engaged in the rules in the case book. I became a real big fan of the case book, just scenarios.
Because I pride myself in knowing a lot of rules, and I try to know a lot of stuff. It wasn't until this year that I got into the college game and took the collegiate test that happened to be written by Bobby Sean, I think his name, Bobby. It's not Sean, but Bobby's one of the SEC umpires that was one of my clinicians who looked at me and told me, man, you move pretty good for a big guy. I went, yeah, that translates to you got in the right spot, but you're overweight. But him and another guy wrote the test, and I'm going, and I'm like, I did not know how little I knew, especially being the first year that I've actually took the NCAA test.
Uh-huh.
And it was a doozy. I spent hours looking stuff up because I'm sitting there going, and what you think you know, because yeah, our league ball games and USA softball and all this stuff is one thing. The college game is a different animal.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of guys say that. It is Brad Hewitt always says that it is a complete different animal all the way around.
And because the way, and a lot of it, sometimes necessarily the rules themselves are not that much different. You know, outs and safes are still outs and safes. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of procedural stuff to the college level now that you get into, because you get a lot of there's a lot of administrative ejections that you can give in college that you would look at and go, I would, common sense would tell you I wouldn't do that. But if you want to play by their rules and you want to umpire at their level, you got to. and I had a coach this year. A lot of people don't know, and I didn't know it until I was with the group and we got to talk about different things on NCAA rules. There's actually a rules in the NCAA softball rules on a home run. The girls can come out of the dugout to to welcome home, for bad lack of better terms, welcome home the girl who hit the home run. But there's one part of that rule that says they cannot enter the playing field. So if they cross a white line, they have now entered the playing field. The first time, that's a warning to the coach. It's a team warning. The second time they do it, the girl who hit I'm sorry, Matt. I think I kicked out. But the girl who hits the home, the second offense to that, the girl is out.
Did not know that.
People look and go, well, I wouldn't call that. Yes, you will. If you want to work at the college level, yes, you're going to enforce that.
Yeah,
it's crazy, but you got to enforce that because you won't work at that level if you don't. Because those coaches know the rules, and what's the first thing they're going to do? Hey, the girl come running in the field. He gave him a warning the first time, and then she did it again, and he didn't call her out. And they lose by 1 run.
Right. You don't want to be that guy.
Unfortunately, it's the way it is. And I had it happen this year. I'd call the girl out, but the team come in, and they're all huddled inside. I had a hard time seeing the girl touch the plate. And when I got through, I walked down to the coach. I said, Coach, your girls cannot come in the field to play on a home run, and that is your team warning. And I wrote it down on my lineup card. That way there's no question. In the 4th inning, scores, team warning for on a home run, or however I documented it, but I documented it so that if it happens again, there's no question. I told you right here, this is the moment I told you that this is your warning. But so there's a lot more, just procedural stuff that the players and the coaches and that can and can't do in the college game. Technically, they can't, by rule, they can't come out and argue a call. If you actually read the rule book, there's no argument.
Leave the dugout, correct?
And they could come out and to appeal a call. But if you actually think that they're coming out arguing with you, you can toss them. Now, you got to use a little common sense there. Am I going to run every coach that comes out at me? Well, no, because if I do that, I'm not going to stay in the college game long either, because you're going to get that reputation of the guy who throws everybody out. Nobody wants you.
Right.
So you got to use a little common sense there. But it's going to be fun. I'm ready to get back on the field. Hopefully this boot comes off. And
I'm happy for you that you got to get a taste of that JUCO level and you like it. I mean, that's the next step for you.
I'm hoping here we're getting there's supposed to be a new coordinator this next year for Division. The lady who does a lot of the Division 3 and Division 2 here in Texas, so hopefully I can get in through that way and kind of progress up a little bit.
Sure,
a little bit. It's a fun game when you get to there, but you also got to take it a little more seriously because those coaches they're no longer a teacher/coach now.
It's money ball. Yeah,
and that's their job now.
Yeah, that's money ball.
And if you're not winning, you're not going anywhere. And if you don't think you can't, those coaches aren't being looked at real seriously. All you got to do is look at Tyler Junior College. The lady at Tyler Junior College took their team to the Junior College World Series 2 years in a row. She is now the head coach at Louisiana Tech University. Right,
the next step.
And she's looking to make the next step. So ultimately, when you get to JUCO level, you almost, if you're not looking to make the next step, you should be pretty close to try to look at that, just because you want to be at the top of your game, just like they want to be at the top of their game.
Right. That's what it's all about, brother. Well, hey, buddy, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for jumping on here and 3-2 baseball and softball, and congratulations on moving up to the JUCO level. and we'll go out there and we'll see you out between the lines, buddy.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Okay, thanks, Don. Have a good one.
I'll
Okay,
take it easy.
all right, bye.